Hello, my beautiful viewers. Well, as you can see from the title, what this is, what motive would the BBC have for casting an Indian as Isaac Newton in the latest episode of Doctor Who? Well, I would assume it's because they have diversity figures to tick. It's all with the BBC now. A lot of people say this. It's tick box mentality, you know. Isaac Newton was not an Indian person. Isaac Newton was a white English-speaking person. English person, white. You go and you Google it, and you will see he's a white guy. He's not an Indian. But the reason they're doing it, in my humble opinion, it's a tick box mentality. But the problem with that is, right, there's a few issues why there's an issue with it. One, I mean, I'm 55, right, and I was brought up in a very different world. The town I was brought up in, I would say 99% of the people were all white English-speaking people. I left school in '84, and you were still white English-speaking people, and it was like that for towns up and down the UK. When I was born in '68. I mean, even now, this country is still overwhelmingly white. It's as high as, what is it, 90, it's as high as 81 to 82% white, you know. And if you go back before the Windrush generation came in the 50s, in the war years, I would say it was as high as 90-odd% white. I mean, and, you know, and you look at London now. I mean, London, some people say it's not a British city anymore, really. But London is perfect. It's virtually a multicultural society, and you look at the adverts today, right, where you would think everybody was married interracially with these adverts. I understand why they do it, because it's a drip effect to get you used to it, you know. But I don't agree with casting historical figures who were white as fair, really, you know. I mean, how will the BBC from this point onward, with their diversity figures, make an accurate period drama from, say, 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, at Henry VIII's time? Because my understanding of Henry VIII's time, there was only one black person in the country. So how can you make a true period drama? They would just fill it with black people, Indian people, and this, that, and the other, you know, which weren't there. And the young people, like I said, they've grown up in a more multicultural society, so they'll probably fit. The fans of the BBC Doctor Who, young people, will probably think Isaac Newton was an Indian guy, and he wasn't. This is the problem with it all, you know, with all this stuff, really. And so, say you were a historian, right? Well, you'd want to actually know if you were doing research on a person or a town, or what the percentage of the population was, and what were they, what race were they. It's all part of being a historian, that is. But it's, you know, the left have just been told, they're just, honestly, you see race everywhere, you know, diversity figures and all the rest of it. But let me tell you straight, like, Google it if you don't believe me. Isaac Newton was not an Indian guy, he was a white guy. It's as plain and simple as that, you know. So, but that's the world we live in today, you know. Overwhelmingly, that's the world we live in. It's all about a tick box mentality. But to be honest with you, I think it's patronising to these actors. And the Indian guy played Isaac Newton. I mean, did he get that job basically because he's an Indian guy, not on his acting abilities? That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. You know, that is where we are. It's not about how good of an actor you are. It's what diversity, what race is needed for the part. It's wrong, isn't it, really? It should be like in the workplace and in places like that. Who's the best person for the job? Not what colour skin you are. When I look at a person, I look at a person as and talking to a person, what the character's like and what sort of person they are. Yeah, I obviously see what sort of ethnic makeup they are as well, but I wouldn't hurt someone's feelings because I've got nothing against anybody. I just think it's wrong the way it's going. You know, maybe they should have had a thingy when he came up at the bottom saying Isaac Newton wasn't really an Indian guy; he was a white guy. You know, uh, to educate the young on the reality, of it. But you know as well, like there's even books being written by some people who say that black people made Stonehenge. No one has a clue who made Stonehenge. And I've seen experts on YouTube, true experts, who say that there was no. 1 second. In thousands of years ago, there was no sub-Saharan Africans in the UK, and yet the BBC on one series tried to say that the black people were here first. They weren't. They weren't. According to experts I've seen, they weren't. It's all about diversity and pushing this agenda down our throats. But anyway, see you on the next one.